Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Peter McGuire. He's CEO at XM Australia. Peter, hi, good to have you and a happy new year to you. And what a strong start for many of these commodities, including the industrial metal prices. Last week was choppy, but this week by now we do understand that we are trading in positive for most of them, especially copper and zinc, 2 to 3% of gains already. How are you reading that?
Well, happy New Year, Manisha, and lovely to see you. Greetings from Sydney. Yes, it's been strongly bid up. Last week was dynamic. That good news story coming out of China, of course, and the overall theme running across, I think, a confidence level is one of bid up strongly, and it's been very evident, as you mentioned. Copper's well up, and zinc's had a nice run, and don't forget some of the precious metals are absolutely on fire as well.
Oh, well, absolutely. I'll come to precious metals, but industrial first. And we have seen the decline in US dollar index continue to support. The inventories in any case have been depleting. But do you see that the demand that the markets have been waiting so long to see cue off is finally coming in from China? Or is this still some hope premium or rally that we are seeing?
I think there's a degree of hopium, because you need all of those goods that are finished and manufactured in China need to be sold somewhere. And if you've got recessionary fears engulfing Eurozone and US and big time consumers, then that's going to be a bit of a handbrake. But it is a good sign, Manisha. That's the first sign as far as what it will do to the internal demand in China. And let's just see where we are in a month's time. I'm expecting a little bit of move to the upside before the Lunar New Year, but it's certainly come out of the gates and it's moving very, very quickly. So that may continue, and it's all a good sign for the commodity producers.
So when you look back at the previous year, Peter, every quarter had its own price moves and its own fundamentals to move at. There was one factor that continued to move the markets. What is it that you see in this first quarter? Is it going to be dollar? Is it going to be China? Is it going to be the first US Fed meeting of this year in the month of Feb?
I think first I'm curious to see how the how the central bankers are in Sweden this week. That's the first sign. Second sign is, yes, China was very, it hasn't been a participant. So now we've got the floodgates open. So that's going to be very, very strong. And that US dollar continues to move down. We're at 103.50. And I still believe there's probably a 102 handle in the next week or so, maybe at the end of next week. So further downside pressure there, Manisha. So, yes, that's going to be a strong push for some of those commodities, and that's always a sign. US dollar down, and these commodities will take a little bit further run to the upside.
Oh, well, absolutely. Yes, below 104 yet again for the dollar index. So what would your favorite pick be as we start this year? Is it going to be among industrial metals or precious metals? Because even as the gold prices for COMEX in dollar terms are trading at around 7-month or 9-month highs, for the Indian markets, we are, inches away from making an all-time high yet again.
Exactly right. Well, yeah, in rupee, of course. So, yes, I still believe that those the gold market and silver especially will run fairly hard in 23. You've got 1885, I think it is. I was just looking at the screen about 1883, 1885 for COMEX gold. So, that's strongly bid up. What we've seen in the last couple of months on gold has been electric. And I was just looking at silver. In just over 2 months, Manisha, it's up 34%. So it's had a very strong move to the upside from $18 to $24.20. So, yeah, don't lose sight on little brother, because I think overall it's probably got more horsepower than big brother.
All right. Well, absolutely. Yeah, silver has been more choppy than gold, but what a run-up that we've seen as the year begins for gold and silver, both of those commodities. So if you had to pick one major commodity that you would want to put major investments in, what would that be?
I think you've got to stay on precious at the moment. I'm certainly concerned as far as what rates are going to do, the inflation story, overall market, recessionary fears. And I think that precious has got some really nice upside. So, yeah, it's certainly had a run already, but I think that will continue for a while yet. And 23 could be a good year for precious.
So looking at $2,000 yet again?
Did you say 1,900?
I said 2,000.
Oh, 2,000, yeah, I think 2,000. I just didn't hear that one. Yeah, look, we'll be at 1,900. I'd say the way it's moving, Manisha, you might be there by the end of the week. But yeah, probably 2,000. It's got its sights on it, and I won't be surprised if it takes that out. It's been almighty trade, and it seems to have a lot of attraction, and a lot of market participants are buying physical and of course paper. But I think the physical market's very, very strong.
All right, bullish and very bullish continuing in case of precious metals there. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining us today. So industrial metals as well as precious metals on the buy side, but gold clearly a favorite there. But with that, that's all the time that we have on Halftime Report. Business Lunch will take all the action ahead.